Britain's naval commandos are a true fighting elite. They live and fight behind enemy lines. They specialise in covert reconnaissance and execute devastating surprise attacks. Their training is one of the toughest in the world. It takes a man with unbelievable endurance, capable of dealing with unimaginable hardships, to be part of this elite within an elite. The Royal Marines Arctic and Mountain Warfare Branch. The Royal Marines maxim is train hard and fight easy, and they prove it again here in a classic training exercise. A six-man team of Royal Marine Commandos are facing an enemy attack. They use live ammunition, real bullets. Any miscommunication and a man can end up dead. They extract from the enemy contact, covering each other in pairs. They are arguably the best trained and operationally experienced commandos in the world.
You coming out for this parade, eh? Right, let's get it done.
18 Royal Marine Commandos parade on the first day of the toughest 8 months of their lives.
Morning, sir.
Morning, Sergeant Thompson, Comanche Group.
Captain Jim Thompson is bored of guarding nuclear submarines.
Curly's on.
No sign of your last injury?
No.
No? Fine. Good.
Corporal Curley failed last year's course. Because of his age, this is his last chance to become an elite mountain leader.
Fit as ever, I presume?
What Andy Workman lacks in height, he makes up for in motivation.
What kind of belt is that? That's got to be worth 20, isn't it? 20 press ups, crack on.
Phil Rashbrook will be the men's sergeant major and mentor for the following 8 months.
Two's course, turn up. Two's course, stand out, ease.
Paul Mattin joined up aged 16. By 19, he was a corporal and was promoted to lieutenant when he was only 22. Now a major, the men call him the boss.
Morning, gents. Welcome. Welcome to Stonehouse. Welcome to the Mountain Leader branch and the Mountain Leader 2's course, course 100. You will need to work exceptionally hard to find the levels of fitness if you haven't already established them. You will need to dig deep.
Within the hour, the men are thrown into their first fitness assessment.
Overall, not too bad, I think.
Change!
What we're after is a guy that's a competent junior NCO, good instructional capability and a relatively high level of fitness. We're not after Superman, but he's got to be slightly fitter than the average Marine, because obviously he's training to be a leader. And to lead men, you need to be able to get out front when things get a bit tough.
Over the next 8 months, these men will train to be fit enough and tough enough to lead men over any terrain in any environment in a real war.
Come on!
They'll hone their weapon skills to perfection. Be prepared to fight in the frozen Arctic and the pitch dark. They will endure hypothermia and be forced to survive on a desolate island with only the clothes they stand in. They are expected to overcome all physical and mental obstacles in order to become mountain commandos.
It's hard to explain to somebody just how emotional things can be in ball bag and town. So much weight, so much height, so much distance.
8 months of physical torture will see the men march thousands of kilometers over the harshest mountains Northern Europe has to offer, carrying all their equipment. Those that complete the course will be able to call themselves the finest mountain troops in the world. To be operationally effective in real wars, commandos are constantly refining their fighting capability. The first couple of months are spent perfecting basic commando skills, amphibious assault, and working in the pitch dark. Since Vietnam, the helicopter has become the primary method of airborne insertion. The Lynx is a fast attack platform, ideal for infiltrating four-man teams rapidly into virtually any combat scenario. In real wars, these combat scenarios could be mountainous, so training starts with an intensive rock climbing course. Many of the drops are over 100 meters. Some of the Commandos have never rock climbed before.
At this stage, it's just going to be traditional style, where they've got to concentrate on footing placement, using the legs instead of their arms. If they try to just use the strength of their arms throughout this climb, they'll simply fail.
Follow the easiest lane.
If they go away with that one lesson from today, then we've succeeded.
These men have to reach an expert level within 2 months. Any candidates who lack the physical ability, personal courage, and a head for heights will be weeded out at this stage.
Make sure you watch your feet, all right? Crack on.
As a test of confidence, the men have to make a leap across a 4-meter gap with a 30-meter sheer drop below.
That's the jump itself, then takes them to the final pitch. It's a case of just looking at the spot and going for it. It is quite challenging. It's something we expect them to be used to doing if and when required as a mountain leader.
Have you done much climbing before?
I've done a bit. I was on the course last year, but I broke my ankle on this space here now.
It's problem solving, really. Finding solutions to small problems on rocks.
Obviously, I'm struggling a little bit with age not being on my side. Yeah, it's hard work, but I'm managing it. You want to stay on the course, then you push yourself.
It's 6 a.m. Rain, wind, and poor visibility are forecast.
Right, just listening then, lads. Jim, you go rear man. H, you can go check nav. And Lee, pacer. Yeah.
The men face a 37-kilometre march carrying at least 40 kilos over the highest peaks in Wales, a climb of over 3,000 metres. In Commando slang, a mega yomp. For the mountain leaders, this is their first great test of navigation and stamina. 4 hours later, and the first team reach checkpoint 1. 10 minutes behind them, call sign 20 appear.
What's the speed like? Wind speed on the top? Gusting mega fast.
Gusting what, 50 plus?
Plus, yeah, easy plus.
Okay. Gale force wind, so just be aware when you do get onto the next set of ridges. Okay, just, you know, use your common sense.
The last team are beginning to lag behind.
Well done, fellas. Stick at it. See you down there.
The temperature is just above freezing. The men are already soaked to the skin and 2 hours behind schedule. By late afternoon, the teams have reached the halfway point where they pause to scale a tricky cliff face.
Combat climbing, yeah? Leave nuts in their slings on, tie them off, step up in them, things like quad cans in, pulling up on them, right? Okay, sort them out as quick as you can, get up there.
Climbing conditions could not be worse.
Pull up on the rope. Hey, come right, look. There's a big foothold there, mate. Shit.
Each team is tasked with getting themselves and their 40-kilo packs, called Bergens, over this feature.
You ain't going to get that over there like that. You have to lower it and bounce it. When they're stationary, they start to get cold quite quickly, and that's when we have to be careful with things like hypothermia setting in. It's about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, so the light's going to be starting to fade quite soon. And then, so they'll be doing about the last 3 kilometres, the last 15 to 20k in the dark. And obviously the wind and the rain as well.
It's going to double in time for this last group. And 40 minutes now is
A lot of light.
2 hours after midnight.
After 25 kilometres and 2 mountains, a 15-minute meal break is all they're allowed.
Don't forget, guys, more time we waste down here, there's more time in the dark as well, so I'm not saying that you want to be getting a move on, but speaking from experience is advisable.
There's only half an hour before darkness, and they still have half the march to go.
Okay, the crow flies. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, between 15 and 17k into there, which is the pub.
By 4 a.m, 2 of the teams have completed the march. Call sign 30 is missing. Hypothermia has struck.
30, we haven't got a grid. They're either off the route or they've got problems. Somebody's cold or somebody's injured. And we can't do anything. We couldn't get anything out of them anyway, so we've got to sit tight until daylight.
30 is still missing at first light, but the Major is confident that they will make an appearance.
840. Call sign 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
2 men went down with hypothermia, and the team resorted to their tents for the night. A valuable lesson in cold weather survival.
It was the old exposure sort of setting in a bit. Yeah, that's probably as bad as it gets, I would imagine. All right, fellas, let's get down there. They perceived the conditions to be untenable and dangerous, and I should imagine probably for 1 or 2 individuals in that group it probably was. You know, if they'd have cracked on, who knows, could have had a sort of full-blown hypothermia case. So no, that's good.
The Welsh phase culminates with a live firing exercise at night. This is as dangerous as it gets. This patrol are covering each other as they extract themselves from an ambush scenario behind mock enemy lines. Compared to daylight drills, the main lesson learned here is the maintenance of a heavy rate of fire during the chaos of a night action. The Western Highlands of Scotland are home to Great Britain's largest mountains and most beautiful terrain. Atlantic storms and freezing temperatures make this the ideal training ground. The men are at the halfway point of the course. The object of this Scottish phase is to put the men through a fully tactical combat exercise that will mimic a real wartime scenario. Skills learned here will be vital when they return to their units. They will covertly insert themselves behind enemy lines, hiding during the day and moving at night. Navigating by compass, over the next 2 weeks the men will march over 100 kilometers, crossing mountain ranges that rise and fall 1,000 meters, a total of 6 times.
Is horrendous, and at night there's no moon, no stars, just completely pitch black.
You just literally disappear up to your ankles or up to your waist every 10 minutes.
Because of the weighty Bergen, a slight trip or stumble will just tip you over. They say train hard, fight easy, and it definitely works in our case.
I'll tell you what goes through my mind, every single song that I know, you just start singing it in your head and you get what's known as a yomp song. The majority of this exercise, it's been one more time and the sun ain't going to shine anymore.
You've got to cheer yourself up somehow by thinking of good things, you know, back home and that. Wife and kids, food.
Always thinking about food.
Always thinking about food.
Pretty much constant, that one.
Have control of everything else, but the weather has got control of you.
The value of these tests of endurance was decisive in 1982, when Argentina invaded the Falkland Islands, a small, isolated British colony in the South Atlantic. Marine Commandos, with the amphibious assault skills learned back in World War II, were sent 13,000 kilometers to recapture them. A desperately brave Argentinian Air Force failed to stop the landings, but they did manage to sink a cargo ship containing 3 out of the 4 heavy-lift helicopters. Royal Marines had no choice but to pick up all their weapons and equipment, upwards of 60 kilos, and march the breadth of East Falkland. 80 kilometers of mountains and thistlegrass were covered in 2 nights and 1 day. Their feet were soon in shreds and injuries were inevitable. Nevertheless, the Commandos threw themselves straight into the desperate hand-to-hand fighting in the hills above the capital Port Stanley. Losses on the British side were 67 dead and 183 wounded. The Argentinians suffered over 700 dead and 1,000 wounded. If the British troops had not been hardened to mountain survival and fighting in the wet and cold, the results of this violent conflict could have been very different. The elite Marines are operating in a similar way today in Scotland. This mock enemy position is under surveillance. Hiding in the hills, the men have been observing it for 2 days. Moving covertly at night, they have covered 60 kilometers to find this target. This kind of operation, known as an observation post or OP, is a commando's single most important job when working behind enemy lines.
Rear one, DPM trousers, fighting order.
In the Falklands and Northern Ireland, these observation posts were created sometimes only 30 yards from the enemy. The men have received transcripted orders to take out every soldier in the enemy position. Blank ammunition is used during simulated battle action. The enemy are told to play dead if aimed at. The dead are searched for information, and the assault team enjoy the spoils of war by making off with any rations lying around.
Easy loss, man.
Target neutralized. Within 5 minutes of the first round being fired, the raiding party leaves the scene. After 14 days and nights of the harshest training imaginable, the men secure a landing site for extraction to a supply ship. The men have covered in total, under darkness, over 100 kilometers of the toughest mountain terrain that the UK has to offer. They are wet and physically exhausted. Exercise over, the men are looking forward to a large breakfast, a hot shower, and a warm bunk. After 2 punishing weeks with only a few hours of intermittent sleep, most of them are in a state of total physical and mental exhaustion. But the more alert amongst them have just realised that they're not about to land on a ship. With no warning, they're to be dropped onto a desolate island off the west coast of Scotland. Unfortunately for the Commandos, just when they thought it was all over, a whole new exercise is thrust upon them. They're about to enter a cold climate survival phase.
Okay, fellas, just sit up. Just listen in. The aim of the exercise is to give you the opportunity to experience a realistic survival scenario with minimum restrictions. Groups are to construct shelters. You may forage anywhere in the exercise area. No stags, sheep or domestic animals are to be caught. If you catch a stag, frankly, best of luck to you. Do not make contact with the population. If we catch any of you in a building, the consequences will be severe. Turn around.
The men are subjected to a full body search. New combat jackets and trousers are issued to ensure that nothing has been hidden to aid them in the field. Each man is allowed to keep only his customised survival tin. The contents include fishing lines, rabbit snares and fire lighting accessories. Any money found is confiscated immediately.
Okay, get in it.
For troops who operate behind enemy lines with no backup, it is vital that their survival training is as real as it can get. The temperature is just above freezing, and everything they would normally need to survive is left behind.
As far as clothing's concerned, they've got a combat jacket and a single layered shirt, 1 pair of socks, a pair of boots. That's it.
Copy huge. Your team off the truck now. Okay, everybody on his stomach again, as quick as you can.
You know what day it is? Wednesday. Friday, with first light, I want to see you at this point. Good luck.
With only the occasional rendezvous, the men are on their own. To avoid starvation, they'll have to hunt and kill for their food. They have no idea how long it will last.
Let's get some shelter on there.
Dawn on the first day of survival. The men have quickly had to improvise the most basic of shelters.
That's group 2. Now they're either all inside enjoying a cup of hot water, or they're out foraging, which I think is probably the case. And that really is on the limit of their boundary. That's as close to the road as they can be. They're brave lads.
Do you feel sorry for them?
Not in the slightest. They're slightly envious.
Andy Workman's group have made use of a ruin that's become a rubbish tip.
Of the remains that we found inside, there's cow, rat, rabbit. There's like old underpants, packages, bottles, beers, you name it.
You pleased with it?
Yeah, definitely, because it's out of the wind. We've got a tin hung up there, that's what we used last night. We filled that up with water, we put a big oxo cube inside of it for our supper. Foreign shelter, with that, everything else can sort of like fall into place.
6 kilometres away, Major Mattin has found a group establishing themselves in a wood.
It's a pretty basic one-bedroom detached. Bedroom sleeps 5 at a squeeze and is rurally decorated. To the front, natural open hearth, in working order. 4 walls, a bit of a roof.
What's the hunting plan at the moment?
I went out today looking for any sign of rabbits.
Any runs?
Runs, there's no runs at all.
You'll catch fish. In fact, I'll be gobsmacked if you haven't got a pan full of brown trout here tomorrow morning.
Did you manage to smuggle anything through?
Certainly not.
Any of you try? Bring a little bit of money through in the tin?
Can't answer that question.
Later, Sergeant Rashbrook searches the rubbish tip boys.
Deary me. Where was that?
In my survival bin.
That was in your survival tin, was it?
The men have started to have success with their fishing lines.
Excellent.
Every man has lost more than 3 kilos in weight over the last 3 weeks.
Smiles all round. Don't eat it all at once.
Yeah.
But Sergeant Rashbrook is about to catch something for himself.
I'm searching around the area to see if they're being fed by any other sources. We've now found a bag of pasta, a tin of spaghetti hoops. They've made contact with the local, therefore they've now paid a consequence. Bag of pasta and tin of spaghetti hoops. Obviously you know nothing about it, I take it? Nope. We'll suggest somebody somewhere is dropping somebody else some food. Okay, that's unacceptable. Okay, you move your hooch 2k closer to the sea. Going to be somewhere in this area here. Alright, I don't expect to see any of this crap.
A nightmare. To just pick an area like that, nightmare. To move everything that's already established here as well. You know, we won't probably find a good shelter like that again now, so that's us really. The last of the comfort.
Some of the local inhabitants of the area are notorious for visiting the troops and offering them assistance, and clearly I have a real problem with that. But if you would ask me whether I went outside of the rules when I did the course 10 years ago, I'd say no comment.
5 days later, and Corporal Workman's team have found shelter in a cave. Sergeant Rashbrook is in a forgiving mood.
A little birthday present for you. Particularly apt for the area you're in, I think. Troutons.
To know them is to love them.
What up and how then, cool alley?
First night in the cave, we were pretty wet, so we put our boots, socks and various other garments around to dry them off while we slept. Woke up in the middle of the night and all I could find was a steaming lump of rubber, and that was the remains of my boot. It's a bit small and on the wrong foot, it serves.
Corporal Workman has managed to catch a couple of pheasants.
Well, we caught a few bits, but not a great deal. In fact, we were off after sheep when you arrived.
Students have been known to take a sheep in desperation after a few days of foraging. We tell them not to take sheep. It's a domestic animal, and it's a restriction for the exercise area. And again, sheep do die. I mean, they may find a sheep that's just coming to the end of its time.
Apparently sheep aren't very good with cliffs, and we found one at the bottom. Still warm, so we thought, well, make use of this, and butchered it, skinned it, gutted it, and brought it back. And we've got a little barbecue over there, as you can see. It's time to waste it.
After 8 days of survival, the Commandos get a rude awakening in the middle of the night. They're told to abandon their shelters. The men have no idea if this is the end of the exercise or not. In a wartime survival situation, there are only 3 end-case scenarios. You will either die, be rescued, or end up captured by the enemy. At this point, we were asked to stop filming.
Okay, gents, from this moment on, you're captured.
Over the next 2 days, highly skilled intelligence operators will interrogate the Commandos at a secret location somewhere in England. We were only allowed to film the men being led off at dawn. In a real war, captured troops are invariably at the limits of mental and physical exhaustion when they undergo interrogation by the enemy. Exactly the state the men are in now. British interrogation techniques stop short of torture, but involve sophisticated mind games that will extract the truth from the toughest of individuals. After 36 hours, the men were finally released from interrogation. Fortunately, they had Christmas leave over which to recover.
I'm going to have a very good dinner on Saturday night with a few bottles of wine, and that's what I've been looking forward to.
The break was short, and midwinter in Norway is a lethal training ground with its vast mountain ranges and temperatures dropping to -30 degrees centigrade. Over the next 2 months, the men face the final stretch towards becoming elite commandos. This morning, it's a relatively balmy -20 degrees centigrade, and the men are going for a swim in the lake. There's a deadly serious reason for these drills, as the men face a very real chance of falling through ice. In these temperatures, the shock of going into freezing water will kill a man in minutes. The only way to train for that kind of nightmare is to do it for real.
Okay, head under. And name rank number. Name rank number.
Papa Curly, P05787 Alpha. Colours.
Okay.
Water is absorbed out of saturated clothing by rolling in the snow.
Name rank number.
Lance Corporal Workman, PO5160 Delta. Work!
The Queen, God bless her.
The toast to the Queen is pure naval tradition. Alcohol actually accelerates the onset of hypothermia. The icy shock makes for interesting side effects.
Corporal Porter, P05858 whiskey. Okay.
Well done, man.
It's a race against time. The much lower air temperature combined with wet clothes induce instant hypothermia. Without a switched-on team to strip you down and get you into dry clothes, an individual is virtually certain to die. Operational training starts with climbing Norwegian style.
It is only frozen water. That's psychological. For a lot of the guys, you know, they're climbing on an ice cube. It's not something we're going to use every day, but it's something that we have to train in, we have to practice in, to retain that particular capability.
Ice climbing is extremely dangerous because, far more so than rock, ice has a tendency to shear away without warning. Working in a frozen environment brings a catalogue of operational problems. The men spend a number of days relearning live firing from scratch on the frozen ranges. Restricted by their skis, they find it hard to find the skills that came so easily on foot in Wales. The drills are frustratingly slow and their weapons prone to stoppages in these sub-zero temperatures. The British assault rifle, the SA-80, is a light and highly accurate weapon, but like early versions of the M16, it has since undergone expensive and extensive modifications. The men will have to increase the speed of their drills if they're to be ready for the final exercise. Sergeant Rashbrook is unimpressed.
I take it that is not what you've rehearsed. I didn't hear cold waters at all, and all I heard was Captain T. However, once things started going wrong, a team commander should keep his eyes peeled, and he should have noticed that just disappeared off into oblivion. No funnying about, that should take seconds.
After 6 weeks of preparation, the corps are ready to embark upon the final and toughest test of all. Following insertion by helicopter, they face a 170-kilometre fully tactical ski carrying all their equipment and weapons. If they can survive this, they will have passed the course.
They've got some fairly grotty weather coming in Delta tomorrow, so they need to make some good distance, and they need to ski.
Chinooks are ideal for commando insertion. Flying fast and hugging the contours, these heavy lift choppers can deposit large payloads of men and equipment right into the heart of enemy territory. Over the next 2 days, the three teams will cover nearly 50 kilometres skiing by night over high plateau. At 3:30 in the morning on the second night, the Major received some bad news.
Planets on Overby. Did you say they're going to try and call on their emergency phone? Good reference, yep. Okay. As I feared, not wholly accessible. Okay, cheers. Bye. Okay, we've got Corporal Curley's part of Team 1, the most northern group. He's got a knee injury. They need a Casevac, but clearly it's going to have to wait till daylight. 0412 now. Bad luck.
We're making really good time. We did 22k the first night, and we were hoping to do 28k last night.
We bivvied up about 6k short of the road, and then we got over the road last night.
We're all aching, all quite knackered, but we're making good time inside.
Pete started trail braking. The going was quite hard.
Message from the rear came up that Curly was in quite a bit of pain. So we stopped and I went back and checked him out, and it appears that a tendon or something on the right side of his knee is really hurting every time he skis.
You could tell he was suffering because he was just quiet, you know, he wasn't really responding to sort of anyone, you know, you could just tell when a man's hurting, and he was definitely hurting.
Hardly walking wounded because he couldn't ski back down to a roadhead or anything, so it's a case of having to get a Casevac.
He was finished.
At first light, the Major is faced with no option but to carry out a difficult and potentially dangerous casualty evacuation. In these near whiteout conditions, rescue would be impossible if it were not for the highly versatile all-terrain vehicles known as BVs.
As it is at the moment, it's pretty straightforward. We've got plenty of reference points, very clear line on the edge of the lake.
There is always a fear that the BVs will stray onto a frozen lake surface and collapse through the ice.
Chris, can you just stop the wagon for a minute? Just lost the edge of the sort of the land side of the lake. Just felt a little bit of sink there, so we're back on the shingle. The BV, it's our primary means of over snow movement. General purpose in the commander units, they're used for everything, carrying mortars on the back, carrying troops, obviously. I think they're about 150,000 pounds, I believe. Don't want to sink too many.
It takes 2 hours to cover 8 treacherous kilometres. Call sign 10 are finally spotted dug into a snowbank.
Curly's in here. We've redistributed all his kit, and we're going to leave here no later than 1 o'clock midday.
Is Call Curly all ready to go? Okay, let's go ahead and call Curly.
It's a disastrous predicament for Curly. If he is unable to complete the exercise, he'll not be allowed to finish the course.
Have a quick look at your leg, yeah? So if you want to go over to the Sigs wagon, jump in the back.
The last 6 months will have been for nothing.
Foregone conclusion, I think.
Yeah, that's quite painful. So I couldn't walk. It was just sheer agony.
You've made the decision it's unworkable, yeah? And you can't ski on this with broken
He was holding the lads up. They're waiting for me for 5 minutes. And I'm sweating my nads off because I'm hanging out, but they're, you know, just going down. Just hang out as much as you can.
In a real war, the team would probably have to abandon Curly to survive by himself.
And we need him as a team member. You know, it's
It's hard with 6, but it's even harder with 5. Yeah, just more kit to carry. You know, we've got to redistribute his kit between everyone, and that makes it, you know, everyone's carrying that little bit extra. Shoulders will hurt that little bit more, but yeah, I feel sorry for Pete because, you know, he's a strong lad and he's, you know, we'll miss him, I think.
Hello, son, over me. It's Major Mattin here. Is Sergeant Rushbrook around? Yes. Nothing we can do with him here. He couldn't ski. He'll come in, establish how bad his knee is, whether we can re-inject him, as it were, into the exercise within a few days. Unfortunate and all the rest of it, but
morale is probably quite low at the moment. Legs are beginning to hurt, my toes are hurting. You know, you're tired as well, and when you stop, you'll be falling asleep on your skis, and you're getting colder much quicker, and everything is much more of an effort. Saps your will to live, really.
You out of this phase. Okay? Alright, so anything for me?
Only how's this going to affect me?
We'll just take it from here. We'll just take it from here. Let's get back. Let's one thing at a time. Let's see if we can do anything with your leg and reintroduce you to the exercise. Let's not look too far ahead at this stage. Can we repair it, wrap it, whatever it is we can do with it possibly to get you into the next phase? Okay? Alright, so. Okie dokie.
I've been dogged by injuries all my career, I think. Getting quite depressing, actually. If I don't finish this, that means I haven't completed the course, and that means I won't be an ML. Yeah, it's just going to be such a blow. Everything, you know, centered around this course, the last year or so, waste, you know, all this time and effort.
Corporal Curley was issued painkillers and rejoined the exercise 2 days later, with his ability to finish the course still hanging in the balance. These soldiers are playing enemy and have set up a heavily defended position in the mountains. Only 100 yards away, the men are in hiding, observing their patrols. The enemy patrol suddenly spots one of the men entering the observation post, and it's not the first time they've given their position away. They've got careless through exhaustion. A report is sent straight back to the Major. He is not impressed and comes to see for himself.
Not happy with what's gone in the last 12 or 18 hours. Reports that the call sign 30 have been compromised by the enemy on 2 or 3 occasions from their observation post, which clearly is unacceptable on the day of the race because they would have been taken on by the enemy, which is exactly what we're going to simulate now.
Come on this way. From last night, never made any effort to conceal their observation. And we see them lifting up binos and taking them down again, lift them up, taking them down again.
Right, yeah, my intention is to bump them out of their OP, not to overrun the OP, but literally just to go up, form a baseline and put fire down onto their position, and I'll see what they do. And that's 9 nights now that they've had out in temperatures varying from -30 all the way through to probably +1 or 2. But that said, there's no excuse. Gladiators, ready? You got plenty of bullets? They'll now know exactly what's going on. Drama incoming. For real, probably cost them lives. See the patroller pushing up through the woods now. The enemy will be tenacious, and we'll sniff them out, I'm sure. Here we go.
During simulated fights, they use blank ammunition.
All they're carrying with them is their grab sacks, which essentially everything that is of immediate requirement for their survival. Realistically, what would happen, all of this equipment is lost to the enemy, and they are in a survival situation. Clearly most undesirable. However, my heart doesn't bleed. They'll know that they're within a couple of days of the end of the exercise, and they are now thinking, we have no equipment, and effectively we are out of the war.
But 12 hours later, the men get their revenge. They take on their mock enemy position. Within seconds, the assault team are inside the perimeter.
Ben, pulls back in on me! Stay on the BD! Woo! 2 dead here!
The enemy have no choice but to play dead. An enemy vehicle, unaware of this situation, suddenly makes an appearance. They're given no time to retreat.
Right, we got one! Moving back, clear! The enemy dead! Through! Yeah! Lead him off, mate! On me!
A textbook commando raid, similar to those carried out from World War II to the Falklands. 2 days later, and the men have finally finished the exercise. They get picked up by the BVs. Over the last 2 weeks, they've skied over 180 kilometres.
Team Commanders on me as quickly as possible. Team Commanders.
That BV there, yeah?
All get BV as quickly as possible.
Get the burgers in, fellas.
Pete Curley's grim determination and a pocket full of painkillers have carried him through. The Major is on his way to meet them. He's also got revenge on his mind.
They will think that this is the end point of the exercise. However, just to keep them on the toes and finish with a bit of a sting, we're throwing in a small attack at the end. They'll get taken on as they load their vehicles. All I want to see is a reaction, a bit of energy and some aggression.
Outgunned by the Commandos' rapid reaction, the enemy are forced to play dead.
Right! On me! Now! Jim! We're searching dead! Down! Jim!
Sleazy, push your team straight back up the hill.
3-0! Once you're done, move on me! On me!
After 8 months and hundreds of miles of foot slogging, the mountain leaders have fought their final battle and climbed their last mountain. For now. The most arduous course in the British Armed Forces, and probably the world, has come to an end. They are now ready and qualified to lead men over any terrain to any objective. The next time they use these skills could be in a real theatre of war. After 8 grueling months, the successful Marines have one final duty: the Honours Parade.
Will I miss them? Definitely not. No, they're ready to go. Let's get shot of them, get them to the units, and get them working. Will they miss me? They won't miss me or Sergeant Rushbrook. It's time to move on. But they'll look back fondly, of course.
It has been an emotional experience. It has been extremely good fun. Someone said, would you do it again tomorrow? I go, no.
8 months seems like 8 years. I feel a better person, I think, for being able to do it.
You can't do something like this and not find out about yourself. Find a few more limits to yourself, you know. Not meaning that you can't do stuff, but just sort of your own personal boundaries that you crossed. You know, no one likes to blow their own trumpet. I think I did well. I did well.
Everybody knows exactly what a mountain leader's done on his course. The world's their oyster now in terms of where they can go and what they can do. They will be put on a pedestal.
Right.
Good afternoon, sir. ML2 course 100 on parade. 17 ranks present, awaiting your presentation.
Thanks very much. Well done in passing such a demanding course throughout every phase. Rest assured your advice and guidance will be sought by all that you work for, and may I wish you all the very best of good fortune in your forthcoming appointment. Sir, well done.
I was as close as I've ever been to actually thinking I can't go any further, but I did and got through, and I've realised what I wanted to do.
That's a culmination, isn't it? get a nice little badge to put on your uniform. It's just there for show, really. You know, the course is what you've done. That's it in the bag now. Nice place to be at this time. Well done. Thanks very much. Cheers.
This is obviously a very important stage in my career, and I can look back on it and I feel chuffed at what I've done.
Everybody respects who they are and what it is that they've done. It's a course that's held in exceptionally high regard. They'll enjoy that feeling. That's probably the best thing that you take away from completing the Mountain Leaders course.
Evil hides in the most unlikely places. Find out where, up next on Justice Files. And to unlock the criminal mind online, log on to discovery.com.